If you're working with an Access database in which some of your fields are numeric, invariably you're going to want to perform calculations. Now, reports are an easy way to perform calculations that will total an average by a particular group. But sometimes you actually want to do that math within a query. In this video, I'm going to show you how to create summarizing formulas within a query. So here's the database that we're working with here. I have three tables. I have customers, I have purchases, and I have product category. And of course, they're linked by a field that they have in common, the primary key and the foreign key. All right, so this is what I'm going to want to do here. Notice that in my purchases, and I'll go ahead and show you what's in the data here. In the purchases, I have just the customer ID, so I can track it to the customer. I have the product category, so I can track to what specific category it is. I have the purchase amount, and then I have the purchase date. Now let's assume in this case that I want to know the total purchases for the year of 2024. I can very easily do that with a totaling or a summarizing query. But what I'm really going to want to do in this case is I'm going to want to summarize those by product category. So these are the categories that I have in this particular database of purchases. The individual purchase could be for clothing, it could be electronics, groceries, and again, this isn't designed properly. This is just designed to make things simple as far as this computations go here. So we'll assume that only one purchase could be only one category. So with purchase number one, if it's $100, it has to be one specific category. Of course, that makes no sense in real life, and we would fix that if we were actually designing this. But let's go ahead and give you a shot and see how this will work here. So I'm going to create a query. I'm going to go ahead and go into Create, and I'm going to choose Query Design. Now for this particular query, the only tables that I'm concerned with are the category and the purchases. So I'll bring in the category over here in the Add Tables pane here, and then purchases. And again, because I did link them together, we do see the linking line already there. Well, let's go ahead and bring in the product category. That's all I want to bring in this case. And just to kind of show you what we're doing as we go here, I'm going to go ahead and view the results of this query, and of course it makes no sense. I see literally every purchase, and I see the category tied to that purchase. So as soon as I add some grouping, which is what I'm about to do here, then it will then just limit it to a summary for each particular category. So let's go ahead and bring in the purchase amount. Alright, so I brought in a purchase amount, and now if I view the query, I'm going to see the same thing I saw before, but with the purchase amount. So I'm not quite there yet, but I am getting close. So the way I can actually start summarizing and grouping is to turn on the total row, or display the total row. And so in the Query Design tab, you'll see totals. It looks like the Excel summation, if the auto sum if you're using Excel. Go ahead and click on that, and that turns on another row, and that row in this case says total. Well, it says group by and group by. Well, let me just show you how easy this is. I do want it to group by category, and so that will put all the electronic sales together, all of the clothing sales, all the outdoor sales, and let's just say I want a sum. So I'm going to change group by, click the drop down list, and just choose sum. Alright, we'll go ahead and view this query, and now instead of seeing clothing, 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 I see all of the purchases that were tied to the product category of clothing, and they are summed. So in this particular database, there are 23,000 purchases or sales of clothing. Well, I can go ahead and throw in an average there just as easy. I'll bring in that same field again, purchase amount, and instead of grouping or summing, I want to average. Alright, we'll go ahead and view this query. And now it says, okay, the sum of all, again, the key here is there is no criteria. So this is literally every purchase that's ever been made in this database. So if I started in 1985, from 1985 till today, that's what I'm seeing. The sum of all of them and the average of all of them. So if I kind of looked through the list here, I can see that clothing looks like it's the highest average purchase. Okay, well, what I really want to do now is I want to limit this to one particular year. And let's just say that I'm interested. I'm recording this in 2025. Let's assume that I am interested really in just 2024. Well, I do have the purchase date here. So I'm going to add the purchase date, and then I'm going to put in a criterion. Actually, I'm going to go a different way here this time here. I'm actually going to build a function that will actually limit, because what I want here is I don't want a date. I actually want the year. So I'm going to have to use the year function. And I could just type it out with year and put in the name of the table, exclamation point in the name of the field, and close them in brackets. And if you're familiar with Access, that you've probably done that once or twice. But I'm going to show you a simple way. I'm going to go ahead and build this. So I'm going to use the builder. So here's the expression builder. Okay, and I want to use the year function. I'm looking for a year function because I want to limit the purchases to only those made in 2024. So I see a function, so if I'm going to expand functions here, and I'm going to use built-in functions. And now I have a huge list of categories of functions, much like, again, if you use Excel, you're familiar with these functions. Well, there is a category called date and time. And in date and time, I can see many, many different ones. I could actually do it by the date, by the hour, by the month, if I have time in there, the second. Well, finally down at the bottom, you see year. So I'm going to go ahead and bring in the year. All right, now it says, okay, the expression is the year of what? So in these parameter here, I need to put in what date I'm looking for. Well, the date I'm looking for is the purchase date. So I'm going to double click on date, and then I'm going to go down into this expression elements, and I'm going to go ahead and find my database here, the customers purchases database, which is what I've called this. And I will find the particular field in the tables, and it's going to be in the purchases table. Now in the purchases table, I see the purchase date. So I'm going to go ahead and double click on purchase date and click OK. All right, so now it says expression 1, year, and I'm going to zoom in. I'm going to just right click and choose zoom so you can see what's going on here. It named that field expression 1. And it really isn't important that I change this, but I'm just going to put in year here just so that I know what it is and I don't get confused if I wanted to put in some additional date information here. So I'll go ahead and click OK. All right, now I don't want to group by the year. I mean, that might be useful because I could have then 24 and 25 summarized together, or 23 or whatever's there. In this case, so I want to use this as a condition because I want to limit this to just one particular year. So I'm going to change group by to where. Okay, now this has stripped out, this field has stripped out the year. All right, the field stripped out the year, and we've changed it. Instead of group by, we want a where, which means it is going to be the criteria of this particular query. So in the criteria now, I'm going to go ahead and put in 2024. Now that will limit it to only the purchases in 2024. So I'll go ahead and view the query again, and we see different amounts. Just to show you that for sure, let's go back into the design view. Remember the clothing is 14,000 here. We'll go back into view. We'll change the criteria now to 2025. We'll run the query again. All right, now it's only 8,000. So again, I could include the year, and then I could group by, and I could have 24 and 25 written, displayed beside each other. But in this case, I just wanted to show you how quickly and easily you could create a summarizing query. As long as you have numeric fields, you have something to group by, or if you didn't have this field at all, it would simply be for all of the categories, but you can then add additional criteria such as stripping out a particular year or a particular month. All right, of course I would want to save this query, and I would want to save it as summarizing purchases by year, and then I might even add a parameter query, and maybe you've seen my video on how to do parameter queries where it would actually ask me what year I wanted to see. I could type in 2022, 2023, 20, so on, and just see those particular purchases in that particular year. Well, hopefully you liked this video. If you did, consider liking it, consider subscribing. I do have several other Access training videos out there in my YouTube channel under the Access playlist. Thank you very much, and we'll see you in the next video.